So retinitis pigmentosa is a group of inherited problems with the retina. The variant that I have is called X-linked RP. Basically, is an issue with the X chromosome. So the disease affects me mainly complete night blindness, which sounds a bit mad when you explain it to people. Night blindness, it's like, well, no one can see very well at night time. But it's basically any time that there is darkness, so changes in light. So I could be indoors and there'd be poor light and I suffer with that. Can never, I've never been able to see anything at night time, so completely blind at night. My disease, as I've said before, has kind of progressed into tunnel vision, so less than 10% peripheral vision now. That's a massive problem for getting around. I have to actually look where I'm going because my eyesight isn't good enough to just use the peripheral vision anymore. And it means that, quite often I get startled by people cutting across me and doing whatever. So that's quite a big thing. I'm very sensitive to light, so I'm blind at night, but I'm also pretty much blind when there's really bright lights, bright sunshine. It's quite dazzling. Obviously I'm out at night and I can't see much, and you get someone driving past with their full beams on, that's quite something. So yeah, the night blindness, tunnel vision, that's the main issues. My central vision was always pretty good. It allowed me to be independent for a long time. As I've got older, the quality of what I see through my central vision has deteriorated, so I'm very short-sighted. I've also developed floaters in the central vision, so the best way to think of what I see all the time is if you've been at a party and someone takes a photo and you get that like flash, and normally you can blink it out, but basically I live with that going on in my central vision the whole time. It's bright yellow in colour, it's like yellow and blue, and it's literally like someone's taking a photo of me constantly. So yeah, just to make things a little more tricky, there's all that stuff going on. I was young when I found out that I had a disease. My parents knew from when I was born, but how do you tell your son that he's going to go blind at some point? So primary school, everything, it was fine, didn't notice anything. High school, pretty much fine. I loved sport, I was really active, so that was good. But in lessons, particularly around the time where I started doing exams, I was getting short-sighted enough that I wouldn't be able to see stuff on the board. So I was meant to wear glasses. And the problem with going to the optician when you can't see very well is that you try loads of glasses on and think they look great, and then you get them and you're like, oh, they're not as good as I thought they were. So I was at school, and everyone knows that school's a horrible place to be anyway. Kids are nasty. I just wouldn't wear my glasses. So I could never really see the board, and I used to get detentions all the time for not doing my homework. And I was a bit lazy. I liked sport more than I liked studying, but a lot of it was because I just didn't want to get teased for wearing glasses. I kind of think actually if I'd gone back knowing what I know now, I wouldn't have cared quite so much. But at the time, 13, 14, 15, you don't want to get teased for wearing glasses. So I didn't do as well in my GCSEs as I probably wanted. There was a lot of tears. I remember turning up at my mum's workplace, and I was expecting to smash my exams and do really well, even though I spent the summer kind of sunbathing and pretending to revise. Didn't go to plan, so you can't cheat the system. Didn't do as well as I thought I was gonna, but went to sixth form, studied really hard. So when it mattered, when I needed to get my butt in gear, get to university, studied hard, 3 years at sixth form, resitting GCSEs and GMVQs and stuff. And then it was like, well, it's time to go to university. I just basically wanted to get away from home, and not because of anything that my parents did. I had a great childhood, but there was something in me that just wanted to get away from the sleepy town that I grew up in and go and experience life in a big city. I applied for quite a few, and I got offered a place in London, North London University, and it's hilarious because we went up there, and my mum already didn't want me to go. She didn't like the thought of me, I guess with my eyesight and my issues, living up in London, you know, big city, mean people, fast paced. I was in my element, and we went up there and we looked at university. It was a terrible university. You know, it's a horrible part. You know, North London at the time, it was pretty rough, kind of Holloway Road, all them places. But you know what, I'd already decided that I wanted to go. The first day that we go up there to look around the university, and my parents' car got broken into, and my mum's handbag got nicked, and their video camera got nicked. My mum was crying, and it was like, oh, this is a sign, you can't come here. And I was like, nah, gotta go. So that was me, and I guess that was the beginning of me putting my foot down and just trying to blaze my own path. You know, I could stay where it was safe, around people I knew and all the places I knew, but I wanted to test myself in a new place, and no better place than London. So I've been in London for about 4 months, and it was going well. University was going well. I'd got a part-time job at a hotel, working in a hotel health club. So pool, gym, it was really cool, really enjoyed it. And I remember it's the end of my first week, and I was coming home late on my own, and I got mugged. By, I'm pretty sure it's about 6 people. Yeah, I didn't even know what was happening. I literally just kind of walked straight into it. You know, I couldn't see very well. At the time, you know, didn't know what to look for. I'm in London, and you know, I'd never experienced anything like that before, so I got beaten up pretty badly. You can't tell from the camera, but I'm, you know, 6'4", quite a big guy. And I just remember when they were punching me initially, I was like, what is this? What is going on? Very surreal experience. And I thought, you know what, I'll just lay on the floor, pretend that they've like knocked me unconscious, and they'll just rifle through my pockets, and you can feel them taking the bag off your back. And I thought, well, at least that'll be that. So I was pretending to be unconscious, thinking I was smart. And they actually just kind of dragged me up to my feet and kind of took me further down the road, bundled me into a hedge. And half of them stayed with me, and half of them took my bank card to the nearest cash point, and they were sort of communicating with each other, and they took out whatever money they could from my account. I was wearing glasses at the time, so obviously my glasses got smashed, so yeah, it was a struggle getting back to halls of residence. It was quite a dark time, but it's probably the one thing that I'm most grateful for, because that interaction with my parents the next day was something that shaped me, you know, in a really positive way. So the next day, I called my parents. I chatted to my mum first, and she was obviously upset, but she never said she told me so. She never said anything about me making bad decisions to move there. You know, she was just sad, but she was happy that I was okay. And I was just like, oh, I kind of want to come home. Like, I'm done with this. Like, it's a nasty place, nasty people. You know, maybe I've made a mistake. And my dad came on the phone, and again, I might be making this up, and I might have exaggerated this in my head, but basically, he was like, don't come home. And I'm being like, what do you mean, don't come home? Like, you know, this is the worst time of my life, and you're saying don't come home. And he said, you know, he's a police officer, so he dealt with these situations before. And he said that if I came home from London before I'd sorted all this out and before I'd kind of healed up from it, that I probably would never have gone back. And in hindsight, if I'd gone home at that point, I probably would have jacked it in and never come back. But as it was, I just kind of healed up a bit, got back to work, got back to uni. The people I was at uni with were awesome. You know, I had groups of people that were like, we didn't go out and find them and do them in for you. Like, no, it was nice. I was really looked after. But that phone call, that moment when I was ready to sack it all off and jack it in and give up, you know, that was the moment where I kind of was like, well, yeah, it's teaching me that I can either be a victim and feel sorry for myself and feel sorry for the cards I'm dealt and all of that stuff, or I can say, actually, people die for less than that. You know, I could have been stabbed or shot or abducted or whatever. Like, I got beaten up and I got mugged. But at the end of the day, like, it is what it is. It happens all the time in the big cities. So yeah, that was like a big learning curve. And that sort of pushed me to develop this mindset of, I've been a victim once and it sucked. So I am not gonna be, the victim anymore. And this is time to push back and go down swinging. So when I was at university, I spent a lot of time, so post the mugging and all that stuff, I became quite angry just because I'd felt quite hopeless about stuff. So that's when I started getting into the gym, got into weight training, massively into weight training, because I was like, well, if I get buff, like, no one's going to touch me, so I went with that. Turns out that it's quite hard to build muscle if you're a skinny, tall man. But I did that, got into kickboxing, got into like martial arts, Muay Thai, boxing, whatever I could lay my hands on. I had a lot of aggression and I was just channeling it through punching and kicking stuff. So that was cool. So I was kind of like, if I build myself up physically and I've got more confidence, then I'm never going to find myself in that situation. And that's what I kind of started doing. But it also made me start really questioning what I was going to do with life. I'd gone to university, studied a degree in biomedical science, and I got to the end of it and decided that I didn't want to work in a lab. Much to my parents' disgust, even though they never said it. 3 years at uni, 20 grand of debt on a student loan, and then I decided that I wasn't gonna use it. I was actually gonna follow my passion, which had continued to be the gym and training. I'd worked at this hotel in London and I'd seen the lifestyle that the personal trainers had there, and it seemed pretty cool. So I phoned my parents and said that I'd enrolled on a personal training course because I thought if I tell them that I'm not using my degree, but I show them that I've got a plan, then it might soften the blow. My mum just said, well, make sure that you're the best personal trainer that you can be, and go do what you need to do. And that's what I did. So started the course, started working as a trainer 22 years later. Christ. Just hits me how old I am sometimes. Yeah, I'm still PTing, still loving it, but as I've gone along, I've developed skills to help more people. So it started with personal training, then I went into sports therapy to kind of keep earning money while people were injured. And I realised how important the sports therapy side of things was to keeping athletes and clients training. And then a bit further down the line, I went back to university to study with Open University for a psychology degree, because I was just tired of spending hours writing meal plans and training plans for clients for them not to do it, and I couldn't understand why. I couldn't understand the behaviour. So that led me into psychology, and then I spent years and years reading all the information I could about sports psychology and behaviour so I could really dial in and help people. My eye disease has been a really good thing for me because I've been lucky enough to see for 42 years, and some people with my disease and other diseases where they are completely blind from the get-go, people that are deaf, people that have got physical disabilities and mental health problems. There's a lot of suffering out there, and so it really prompted me to want to help those people, help reach people. That's what I really take from having the problems that I have. I've got arthritis, I've got type 2 diabetes, and I've got my eyesight problems, but I count myself really lucky. And it's through that kind of training and learning that I've done to improve my own, my own mental health, I guess, and my own perspective on life to be able to keep pushing forwards. That's what I want to bring to my videos and my channel and all the people that watch the stuff I do. So for the first time, I'm gonna, lay myself out for everyone to see. I spent a long time hiding my disability, trying to blend in and trying to be normal and not wanting to ask people for help. And what I found, especially in the last couple of years, is that I need help, just like there are going to be hundreds of thousands of people that are too afraid to ask for help. So my real hope from doing what I'm doing is that if I show you me asking for help and me being vulnerable, then you can be vulnerable and ask for help as well. And I'm genuinely excited about this little project. It's been weird sitting in front of a camera, but I'm starting to feel like it's getting a bit more natural. So I'm excited to have you guys along for the journey and see where we can take this thing.
But yeah, never easy, is it?
Alright.
Especially when they give you lots of love.
Yeah, they got too quick.